place helps you. It's sort of like a methodology to how to approach to get to know a city.
Our framework goes something along the lines from geology to hydrology. Geology forms and the mountains, and then that's your watershed, and that's the hydrology, and that's then gives in turn to the biology, and that gives in turn to the settlement patterns, that gives turn to culture, to economy, to education, all the way to psychology, spirituality. It's all based on a watershed nested system.
Be it a human being or a city, but there's always going to be some blockage that's not allowing you to reach your potential, so your essence is not fully manifested.
So the way we treat cities is very similar to the way we treat patients. It's a segregated approach that lacks systemic understanding. You need to first understand the human body, and then you need to understand where those leverage points are. And it's the same in cities. There are places where a lot of flows intersect, and those are leverage points. For example, the historic center receives 300,000 cars every day. Every day, 1.5 million people come in and out of the city. That's a place with a lot of flows. That's a place where if you do something, if you do an intervention, it'll have a large impact. So this street is called Regina, and it's part of the cultural corridor of the historic center. It's a place where people have been coming here for coffee for 30, 40, 50 years. It's a very traditional place. It's Lebanese coffee. This street had a lot of violence. It was a very violent street, and a lot of drug problems happened here. And the way that these problems were solved were not by putting more cameras or putting more security, or the problem was solved by making the street pedestrian and making it more inhabitable. We worked on this street with a better understanding of the historic center and its history and how it's evolved. We identified some of the things that were needed, and we identified that a park was needed, that the street needed to become pedestrian, and that we needed vegetation. It took us a long time to figure out what was the best use for this building so that it had a positive ripple effect on the neighborhood. So we decided to do a neighborhood culture house. This is a leveraged intervention. Mm-hmm. One single use in one single building has had a huge impact on a large area, which is the historic center.
Well, I think this city is going against completely. The ancient cultures take the water as a god, and they honor the water, and they use it and they work with the water, with the natural flows. And when the Spanish people came, everything changed, and they start to try to dry a lake that we have spent more than 400 years trying to dry the lake. And we can't dry the lake because it's not a lake. We don't really understand which kind of flows of water it's happening here. Then if the city take a real understanding about the ecosystem and the environment, this could be a really better city and a completely different.
The new culture that the companies should have is the understanding of the people and the nature, because in the way that they understand both, they will create new products and services.
Ideally, I think they should lead the way of joining the population or the civil society to its place, right? You can't build here, it's a mangrove. you can't tube the river. We need water, really, not imported from other watersheds adjacent to the valley. I mean, there should be a deeper understanding of place within the government.
In our collective, we are trying to work with multiple disciplines, not only architecture and design.
The process we're envisioning is getting together, working together, presenting the work. If we're too focused on government officials right now, we may get stuck. Their processes are very slow. Their processes are stuck within different types of people and different agendas.
Like the conclusion is the participation of the people, no? At the end, that's what we want from everyone.
A great end would be the beginning of an amazing transformation of the city. And this first workshop, we did a first trial of the essence of Mexico City. We came up with some interesting theories that we need to continue to try out. And the people came out of the workshop really excited, they're involved, we want to do an exhibit, we're doing conferences. We want this exhibition to be the spread of a new understanding of the city.
It's like in a city, a change sometimes hurts, but it's actually for the better of the city.
It's an investment.
marcando tu